Okay, our next figure is a cone, and I don't have an actual cone, so I have provided a website that you can get cones from, so you can snag your picture, so you can copy your picture and get the information. So let me pull up the information. It's going to be down here at the bottom. I have the height of the cone. So the height of the cone, they tell me 4 5/16 inches. Those tells me the inches, and it gives me the top diameter. So I'm going to write diameter, and that's 3 5/16 inches. Okay, so that's enough information for me to go ahead and find the surface area and volume of my cone. So I'm going to move it up so you see the picture of the cone. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to make some calculations, because if we look at our formula for cone, I need R, which wasn't given to me. I have to calculate it. I need the script L, which is slant height, and then I need the height. So I have that. So I am missing 2 of the variables that I need, and the variables are listed in the bottom left. I need the slant height of the figure, and I need the radius. Okay, well, radius, first thing I want to do is I notice these are in fractions. And I know some people don't really like fractions, and it's easier to calculate using decimals. So I'm going to find the decimal representation. So 5/16 is 0.3125. So that's going to be equivalent to 4.3125 inches. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. And then the diameter is going to be 3 5/16, which is going to be 3 3/125/10,000ths. And that's going to be the measurement. So the radius, I'm going to take the 3.3125 and divide it in 2, because the radius is half. And I'm going to go ahead and make that 1.66 inches. Then I need to calculate what's called the slant height, that scripted L. Okay, slant height. So if I use the small picture of the cone right here, where my cursor is tracing, that's the slant height. It's quite literally the slant height. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Let me draw a diagram. So here's my cone. And here's the radius, here's the height, and then this would be the slant height. Now, because the radius and height are perpendicular, that gives me a right triangle. That gives me a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that gives me Pythagorean theorem. So my slant height squared is going to equal my radius squared plus my height squared. And I have those things. So I'm going to calculate my slant height using the radius and the height. So my slant height squared is going to equal the 1.66 squared plus the 4.3125 squared. Okay? So I'm just going to type that into my calculator. 1.66 squared plus 4.3125 squared. And I get 21.35. Now I'm going to leave it as it is in the calculator. So my L squared is equal to 21.35. I'm going to round it here. And then I need to square root both sides, because I need a single L, not a squared L. Now when I come in my calculator, I'm going to leave the entire number, and that's taking that last answer and taking the square root. So I get 4.62. That's what I'm going to use for my slant height. So my L is going to be 4.62. Okay, that's what I'm going to use for slant height. So that's how long this piece of the cone is, and again I'm going to do my cursor. That's going to be that piece right there. And I'm going to have that as 4.62 inches since my dimensions were given to me in inches. Now I'm ready to calculate my surface area and volume. So my surface area is going to be pi r squared plus pi r L. And that's going to be pi times 1.66 squared, I'm substituting in, plus pi times 1.66 times 4.62. My area of the base is going to be 8.66. The lateral area is going to be 24.09. And then altogether, my surface area is going to be 32.75 inches squared. Since I didn't measure it myself, I used the dimensions that were given to me and the units that were given to me. So there's my surface area. My volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. So volume is equal to 1/3 pi times 1.66 squared, and then we go back to the original height, 4.3125. I put that in my calculator, and my volume is equal to 12.44, and then that's going to be inches cubed because volume is in cubic measurements. And that concludes the surface area and volume of a cone. Again, I did have to calculate certain dimensions. On the website, they gave me the height and they gave me the diameter. I need the height, the radius, and the slant height for the calculation. So diameter and halving it gives me the radius. And then I can calculate the slant height using Pythagorean theorem. The radius and the height make a right triangle with the slant height, and then I can use Pythagorean theorem. This is really a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I substitute those values in and find my slant height. Stay tuned for the pyramid.